Hello, Starshine. This is Lisa McCardle, your soul activator and your inner wisdom awakener. I am so thrilled to meet with you here today. I wanted to share some of the beauty of my world with you. It's a little bit windy, full of life and full of vitality, as is this week. I just wanted to give you a little energy update for the week of July 1st through 7th, and we are in momentum, full momentum. These last few weeks have been full of light activation, and now we're going to move into a little bit of shadow activation, is how I'm thinking of it. We are being met with the new moon energy on Tuesday, July the 2nd. It also simultaneously is occurring with a complete entire solar eclipse, both in the sign of Cancer. So this is a lot about coming home. It's a lot about learning how to become fearless. Cancer organizes a lot about your beliefs of comfort and of safety and of real foundations of ease is what I want to say. So this is an opportunity to look at some of the shadows, to look at some of the imprints, the overlays, the things perhaps you've been taught through this lifetime that keep you feeling a little unstable, or perhaps not trusting fully in the bounty and the support and the security. Security is really the word. The security that is all around you, that is always all around you. Remembering that you are an infinite being in an infinite universe, and that security, safety, abundance, that is your fundamental birthright. And anything that keeps you from the experience of it as such is really within your power and in your control to rewrite the story that you're telling yourself, or the belief systems that you're holding in accordance with it. Now remember, we can seek, and we often do, we seek for proof of what it is we're wanting to experience. And there's all kinds of proof, probably in your history, in your story, of experiences or opportunities that solidify that perhaps there isn't enough security, there isn't enough safety, that there isn't enough in general. But your opportunity here is to seek for proof of where the security is, and to lean into that and to grow and expand upon that, because it is available for you in all ways. So this is an amazing time for new beginnings. New moons are always fundamental opportunities for manifestation, for creation at a high level. And this one, when we are having the shadow of the sun and the quiet of the moon. So we just had the full moon and then the summer solstice, which was all about the fullness activation of light, the fullness of light. And now we're moving into the fullness, I'm going to call it, of the shadow, of the perception of being in perhaps the darkness. And sometimes when we're in the darkness, we're feeling around, we're stumbling around, we're tapping around for where's my next step. You know, imagine yourself being in a really dark room. You're kind of feeling your way through. And this new moon is no different. It's about how you're feeling. Cancer is a lot about emotion, so it's a feeling new moon. So how are you going to feel your way through what you're perceiving to be the unknown, the unseen? How are you going to feel your way through that? And are you willing to feel through it like a warrior, expecting that when the light comes back and the sun rises again in its fullness, and we create that balance, which will be happening after that, what are you willing to really lean into, to be curious about, to welcome, to come into your world, into your field with zero resistance? This is about eliminating resistance. I'm understanding it as a time to reorganize, redirect, reorient. It's an opportunity for stabilizing and redirecting the course of where you're going. So the fullness of the sun and the solar summer solstice was a lot about an activation of what is your truest purpose. Why are you here? Now you get to reorganize the aspects of your life and examine some of the shadows, or examine some of the places where you've been in the darkness. so that you can get in full momentum, full stamina, full forward creation for your truest purpose. There has never, ever been in our lifetimes a greater moment for you to really step up and step into your fullest potential and to the reason why you are here. Like, it's all becoming available to you. Do you feel it? I mean, it's palpable. But having these experiences of the places where there is not full alignment for my fullest potential, I'm literally physically uncomfortable. I've been explaining it like wanting to kind of peel out of my skin in some ways, because when you know what you're being called to do and you haven't allowed the fullness of that to occur yet, it's palpably uncomfortable. So if you're uncomfortable in any aspect of your life, it's time to sit into the shadow of that and make some really clear decisions about how you're going to get moving forward and how you're going to get moving more into the direction of what it is you do desire and you know you're being called for, as opposed to sitting in the discomfort of what is no longer serving you. It's like wearing a coat that you grew out of 10 years ago, but you're still shoved yourself into it. Like, that's just not comfortable. And you might just have to take the old coat off, and you might just need to throw it away, because there's so much more bounty waiting for you. And that's what this is. This is a time to be curious, to be a fearless flyer, to make decisions with yourself that you are going to move from a place of zero resistance. Like, what you're resisting absolutely is persisting. And what if there was no resistance? You know, I'm remembering when I was little and I was having those dreams of being chased, and the thing that was chasing me, I had no idea, because I was always running from it, right? I was running, and I couldn't always get off the ground. I couldn't always fly, because in dream time sometimes it's hard to get off the ground. And I'll never forget in my dream the time when I decided to stop trying to run or trying to fly away from the thing, and I turned around and I looked at what it was. And in the moment in my dream, when I turned around and I looked at what that thing was that I was afraid of, that I was running from, it poofed into nothing. It was an illusion that I was having this reoccurring dream of running from, taking flight, moving from. When we stop, we take that really deep breath, we reorganize the experience we're willing to have, and perhaps we turn around and we look at this thing that we are in the perception of fearing the most. Whoosh, the illusion is shattered, and there's an opportunity to fear no more. So this is what is happening in the activation in the field right now. It's time for you to optimize all of the truth as you know it or as you want to know it, and stand steadfast and true. Maybe closing your eyes and feeling into where you have resistance and opening them into the face of it to see that they have completely transformed. This is what's happening for you now. If you're willing to play, and I don't know why you would do anything other than play, because that's what you were created for and the time is now. So it's a real deep dive into the unseen, into the unknown, into the yet to be clarified. So there's a lot of curiosity. There's a lot of trust, and there's a lot of trust in your safety and in your availability to be held and to be supported by something bigger than you, bigger than your human field. It's time to be really, truly supported by the beings and the ancestors and the divine light frequencies that are all around us. When we are in complete collaboration and co-creation with all of this divinity, our capacity to become a fearless flyer becomes natural. Like, the fear is an illusion from this third dimension of which we are colliding out of and disintegrating as we move. These timelines of old are disintegrating so we can morph ourselves into this new creation that is really in alignment with who we were designed to be, who we are at the core of our existence, but we forgot. So here we are, becoming new humans and colliding into fearless flyers and activators of tremendous potential and tremendous potency is what I want to say. So Okay, we're also going to be met with a little Mercury retrograde, so we're in the shadows of that right now. There's several planets in retrograde, and as we move into the Mercury retrograde on July the 8th, it's really a time of no big decisions, no huge communications unless you're really grounded and really present in them. This is time to be a really good observer and to be really present. Part of the channeling of the message that came through today was about fierce presence and how everything's really available through your persistency to be present in every moment. And that's how we're really going to make it through, not just make it through, but thrive through these energies of these eclipses. There's another eclipse, I think it's the 17th or 18th of July as well. That one's going to be a lunar eclipse. We'll talk about that in the next broadcast. And there's just stay grounded, stay present. Everything is here for you, but you can't you can do anything you want. You're a free will agent, but it is recommended that you stabilize, ground, and anchor yourself in greater confidence and in greater connection. Grounding practices are of utmost importance right now. Get out there in earth and do the things that you do. Do your meditations. No big decisions that have, because communication is going to be affected. Be the observer, stay grounded. Oh, simplify, purge, and organize. It's such a time for that. So simplifying your home, simplifying your to-do lists, simplifying your daily practices, like simplify, organize, and purge. And most of you are probably called to do that anyway. We naturally know what's called forth. Great time to listen to your intuitive knowing. Really follow your gut. If something feels good, move into it. If it doesn't, take the pause. Take the big fat pregnant pause and say, no, thank you, not right now. And you don't need to know why, and you don't have to explain why. If something doesn't feel organically in service, in the core of your soul, in your gut, in your intuition, in your knowing, then simply don't do it. This isn't a time to push the edges into things that are uncomfortable. It's time to simplify. It's time to be present. It's time to set into full activation your wildest dreams. Like, what do you want? What do you want? What do you know is yours for the creation, for the making, for the experiencing, for the receiving, and for the living? That is what is now, dear ones. Okay, let's see. Let's pull a card and just see what wants to come in that way. I'm using my Alana Fairchild cards. I just love them. Sacred Rebel, super fun. Super duper duper fun. Good time for some quiet too. Sit out in the sun. Let yourself get connected to the elements. Since we're going into a little bit of shadow, we're going into a little bit of purging from the shadow place. Some sun would be really good right now. So, first card I drew is Defend to the End, the Worthwhile. This card comes up every time, seems like. So we have the owl, we have the wisdom. I do believe this is moving into the shadows again. What you know to be true, what you know from the core of your existence, why you were brought here, who it is you're to be, what it is you are to do. Stand in the truth of your greatest conviction. And if there is any, I can't help but notice, there's a lot of, there's tears, there's grief, even the colors are mutated, they're of the shadow. Sometimes, well, always, when we're in a process of rebirthing, reorganizing and reorienting ourselves into the direction of our divinity, there is parts of ourselves that must be let go of. And it's okay to grieve those parts of you, the parts of you that perhaps made decisions that you wouldn't make now, or that didn't, in your perception, leave you feeling as the best that you could feel. There's any grief in the process. There is always grief within the process of transformation, within the process of letting go. So honor that. Get your bodies in the sun to reorganize the light back in. What comes on the other side of that is seeing the true you And what I love about this is she's gazing into her own reflection, and she's really looking at the truth of who she is. And notice she's naked, so there's a vulnerability in the gazing into the truth of who you are, into the reflective truth of you. I love that she's on a couch, if you will, so really showing that although it can be uncomfortable and although it can be vulnerable, it could also there could also be ease. There could also be comfort in relaxing into the true showing, revealing is the word I want, into the true revealing of the authentic you. And she's in a lily pond. So we know what the lily goes through. It comes up through the shadows, through the mud. It's not pretty at its roots sometimes, but it grows continually to the light, and it flows and moves with the waters, even though it is deeply rooted. It's flexible, and it presents a beautiful flower. So, seeing the true you, that is part of the course of what will bring you the greatest clarity, is what I'm getting as we move into the fullness of you through these shadows of the new moon and the solar eclipse. And then we get this against the grain, this beautiful woman swimming, floating, flowing, and there's birds above her. So it's moving. Cancer is the sign of water. It's a lot about emotion, and notice that she's moving freely through. And it's talking about against the grain. So sometimes when we really come into the truth of who we are and who we're meant to be, it might not always be the popular decision. It might not always be what those around us are most comfortable with, or how those around us are most comfortable with us expressing ourselves. It might not be what our parents wanted for us, or our children want for us, or our best friend envisions for us. Sometimes we might have to go against the grain of normal, go against the grain of acceptable, go against the grain of expectations in general to deliver the fullness of our purpose, of why it is we are here. Sometimes we gotta swim upstream, maybe just for a moment, until we get into the current and we can find the ease in connecting with what is the truth. And then we have the birds at the top of the water. So what that says to me is, through the process, all flight gets to occur. You get to fly, you get to soar, you get to really soar into the truth of your greatest creations. So I think that's where we will leave it for now. Be mindful of your practices. It's a really great time to be journaling and writing. Be in the practice of keeping track of the messages that are coming through you right now, because they are all coming through you as divine design for your greatness. So catch them. They aren't just daydreams, they're direction setters. So be mindful of what's coming through you, seek for it, become fearless, and